The deeper I look into New York, the more I realize there is a lot of crazy stuff going on there. This video brings you 5 brand new cases and stories from the Big Apple, and 1 bonus case deep from the Dark Case archive. But enough from me, let's dive right in there. Love ya. On October 30th, 2025, a downpour overwhelmed parts of New York City. Water rushed through streets, poured into buildings and flooded basements, faster than the drainage system could carry it away. In Crown Heights, Brooklyn, 39-year-old Aaron Akaberi was inside a basement apartment with several animals when the water began rising. He managed to escape with 1 dog and a cat, reaching safety while neighbors watched the basement fill. But 2 animals were still inside. People warned Aaron not to go back. The water was already dangerous, the basement almost submerged, and rescue crews had not yet arrived. Aaron ignored the warnings and went back down for his 2nd dog and another cat. He did not return. Neighbors called his name through a window, hoping he had found another way out. There was no answer. By the time firefighters arrived, the water was so deep that an FDNY diving team had to enter the building. Aaron was eventually pulled from the basement and taken to Kings County Hospital, where his time on this earth was officially called. His pets would also not be lucky enough to escape. Reports differed on whether Aaron drowned or encountered an electrical hazard in the flooded room, and it still seems unclear now. Aaron had a complicated reputation in the neighborhood. He was a convicted dealer and a controversial character, but those who knew him remembered what he did in his final moments. He had already reached safety. Then he turned around, went back into the water, and risked everything for the animals that depended, trusted, and relied upon him to protect them. At just after midday, Leonard Shoulders walked towards a bus stop in the Bronx. Around him, people waited or looked at their phones. A normal day in a city that, admittedly, does like to drop a surprise or two. And a surprise was about to take Leonard to a whole new subterranean world. The concrete of the pavement cracked beneath Leonard's feet. Leonard tried to catch himself, but the sidewalk opened and pulled him into an underground vault. He fell between 12 and 15 feet as concrete struck him on the way down. When witnesses reached the edge, they could barely see him below. He was alive, but he was not alone. The vault was filled with rats. Leonard's family said they crawled across him while he lay injured and unable to move. He was so frightened that he refused to shout, afraid that opening his mouth would allow one of them inside. From above, bystanders asked him to move his hand if he could hear them. It was almost the only response he could give. Police and firefighters worked for half an hour before lifting him out. Leonard was taken to hospital with injuries to his head, face, arms, and legs. He also suffered a spinal fracture and initially lost feeling in parts of his body. Inspectors found that the vault beneath the sidewalk was in disrepair. The building was vacated and fenced off, while responsibility was investigated. Leonard survived, but his family said the experience left him traumatized. An ordinary wait for a bus had become the kind of nightmare New Yorkers joked about, until it happened for real. On the morning of July 12, 2016, a block on the border of Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant and Bushwick neighborhoods began to look strangely unfamiliar. People were standing in the street with empty expressions. Some could barely remain upright. Others moved their arms and legs slowly, as though every action had to be remembered before it could be performed. A few groaned without explanation. Witnesses began filming, and one description spread quickly across the city. It looked like Zombieland. Emergency crews arrived to find a mass casualty incident unfolding near Myrtle Avenue and Broadway. 33 people had been exposed to an unknown substance. 18 men, aged between 25 and 59, were transported to nearby hospitals. 8 identified themselves as homeless. Among them was a 28-year-old man who stared blankly when paramedics tried to speak to him. He could respond, but only slowly. At the hospital, he drifted between lethargy and awareness, reacting when touched but struggling to behave normally. His movements became mechanical, At intervals, he groaned and appeared detached from everything happening around him. Doctors checked for the substances they usually encountered. They tested for illicit stimulants, alcohol, and several other substances that shouldn't have been there. The results came back normal. His heart rhythm was stable. There was no obvious injury, and no familiar explanation for what they were seeing. For 9 hours, hospital staff could do little more than monitor him, provide oxygen, and wait. Gradually, the blankness lifted. His behavior returned to normal. He could only explain that he had inhaled something from a packet for the first time. That packet became the key. The product was called AK-47 24-karat gold, a mixture of herbal material divided into small blue bags. Although products like this were often described as synthetic marijuana, the name concealed how different and unpredictable they could be. Scientists tested the packet alongside blood and urine samples, taken from 8 patients. Inside was an extremely powerful synthetic cannabinoid. Its breakdown product appeared in every patient tested, and no other illicit substance was detected. This synthetic substance was estimated to be 85 times as potent as THC, the main psychoactive chemical in the common green plant. It was also around 50 times stronger than the chemical found in some earlier K2 products. The strength explained the scene outside the subway station. Rather than producing the effects users may have expected, the substance severely depressed the central nervous system. People became almost immobilized with blank stares, slow movements, and little ability to understand or control what was happening around them. All of this came from a cheap herbal mixture that could be produced in enormous quantities. Researchers calculated that 1 kilogram of the chemical could potentially be spread across more than 15,000 packets, creating close to $500,000 in sales. The Brooklyn outbreak ended without fatalities, and the patients recovered. But it exposed a disturbing reality. The people lying across that pavement had unknowingly become human test subjects for a chemical powerful enough to turn a city block into a medical emergency, powerful enough to bring zombies to New York City. Carol Acosta built her career by turning the treatment that once hurt her into the message that made millions of people feel understood. Born in the Dominican Republic, Carol moved to the United States when she was 12. She was bullied because of her weight, but instead of allowing that experience to define her, she began using humor, confidence, and honesty to push back against it. Online, she became known as Killadamente. Her posts focused on self-acceptance, body confidence, and the refusal to live according to other people's standards. More than 6.7 million people followed her on Instagram, where she spoke openly about her life, her struggles, and her role as a mother. In 2017, she released a song titled, "I Love Myself, and I Don't Care." It captured the attitude that had made her successful. She could be mocked, criticized, or knocked down, but she would continue standing up for herself. By the beginning of 2025, Carol was 27 years old, raising 2 young children and expecting her third. Just one day before her death, she appeared online in a black dress, speaking with the same confidence her followers had come to recognize. Then, on January 3rd, 2025, Carol was having dinner with relatives in New York when she suddenly began choking and struggling to breathe. Her family said she then suffered some kind of attack, reportedly cardiac arrest, and was rushed to hospital. Doctors were unable to save her. Although formal post-mortem results were still pending when the family spoke publicly, they consistently described Carol's passing as being from choking on her food. Choking can become fatal within seconds, and in the United States alone, 5,553 people passed from choking during 2022. Carol's sister confirmed the news online, describing her as her sister, partner, and best friend. The family created a GoFundMe to raise money for Carol's children. Carol had traveled from the Dominican Republic to New York, survived years of ridicule, and built a community around refusing to feel ashamed. At only 27, that life ended during an ordinary family dinner. It just goes to show, you really never know. Just a quick one. For some reason, my videos are normally seen by just 1 to 2% of my subscribers. I actually don't know why. Regardless of the reasons, it's making it extremely challenging to keep this show on the road. And I promise I don't like to do this. It makes me feel like Oliver Twist or something. But please do consider becoming a channel member. There are currently 343 of you, and I'm aiming for the crazy goal of 1,000 by the end of 2026. You get things like early access to videos, our behind-the-scenes podcast, and of course my eternal gratitude. Thank you, and I love you all. Now, back to the video.
Like, what the heck is going on? You know, I'm like, why am I here? Like, what's going on? How did I get to this point?
Linda Stein was never supposed to become a New York power player. She was the daughter of a kosher caterer, raised in Riverdale, and began her working life as a 5th grade teacher in the Bronx. It was respectable work, but Linda was drawn towards a louder world. A blind date with record executive Seymour Stein gave her a way into it. Seymour was building Sire Records, and Linda did not remain quietly in the background. She loved rock and roll, and had the confidence to tell powerful people exactly what she thought. By the mid-1970s, she and music executive Danny Fields were managing the Ramones, a group whose short, aggressive songs sounded unlike anything on mainstream radio. Linda helped take them beyond New York's cramped clubs and into Britain, where their international reputation began to grow. Her world became places like CBGB and Studio 54, and friendships with people who would become cultural icons. Elton John knew her before global fame, while David Bowie, Bob Dylan and the Ramones became intertwined with her life story. Linda had crossed from a Bronx classroom into the center of the music business, not through inherited wealth or the Nepo baby route, but through force of personality. Her marriage to Seymour ended in the late 1970s, and her work with the Ramones eventually ended too. Linda responded by reinventing herself. She moved into real estate with almost no experience. What she did have was a rare understanding of famous people. She knew how to speak to them without intimidation, how to handle their demands, and how to tell them when they were making a mistake. Her former life became her client list. Billy Joel, Sting, Madonna, Steven Spielberg, Angelina Jolie and Elton John trusted her with multi-million-dollar properties. Linda became known as the broker to the stars. She was only 5 feet tall, but friends described a presence that could dominate a room. She could be funny and generous, but also demanding, profane and volcanic. Linda did not soften herself for anyone. That intensity helped create her success. But it also damaged friendships and unsettled colleagues. By 2007, the energy that had carried her through 2 careers was meeting physical limits. Linda had survived breast cancer and 2 mastectomies. She was also living with a benign brain tumor and taking medication that left her weakened. Her right arm was numb. An ordinary task such as combing her hair had become difficult. That summer, 26-year-old Natavia Lowry became her personal assistant. Some of the work was conventional, calls, contracts, and appointments. Other duties were unusually intimate. Natavia jogged with Linda and helped wash and style her hair. People around them initially saw little cause for concern. Linda even praised her work, and once arranged for Natavia's boyfriend to visit for her birthday. But beneath the surface, something more serious was developing. Natavia had begun using Linda's identity to obtain credit and build up approximately $30,000 in unauthorized charges. A note was placed on Linda's mailbox to prevent financial statements from reaching her. The deception could continue only for as long as Linda remained unaware of it. On October 30th, 2007, the mail was delivered. That evening, Linda's daughter Mandy entered the Fifth Avenue penthouse with a friend. At first, it appeared her mother might have suffered a fall. Linda was lying face down in the living room, the hood of her sweatshirt pulled over her head. When the hood was moved, the true nature of her injuries became clear.
What happened?
Help me! Help me!
Hello? Hello? What happened?
I came home and my mom is in a puddle of blood. Can you just send something?
Yes,
right
ma'am,
now?
I sure can. Miss?
Linda's time on this earth had ended after repeated impacts to her head and neck. There was no forced entry, and nothing obvious appeared to have been taken. The building had doormen, elevator operators, and surveillance cameras. Whoever had been inside the apartment was likely someone Linda knew and trusted enough to let them in. The last person known to have seen her alive was Natavia Lowery. Security footage showed Natavia leaving the building around the relevant time, carrying a bag and looking at the soles of her shoes. When questioned, she initially denied knowing what had happened. Her account then changed. She claimed a masked man had entered the apartment and attacked Linda. After hours of questioning, the story changed again. Natavia admitted that she had struck Linda repeatedly with a weighted exercise stick. She said Linda had been yelling at her and claimed the confrontation escalated after Linda waved the object towards her.
She's pointing the cane at me now, right? So, move the cane. You know how you just like slap it?
Where were you? Still on the couch?
Mm-hmm. So, I'm still on the couch. So, she's like waving the cane and stuff at me. Then it's like, I don't know, like after that remark and stuff, and you know, her screaming and yelling, I just snatched it from her, took it, and it's like, I just hit her with it.
Where about her body?
Like right here. But it's long. So, you know.
After the first time she fell, and then you continued to hit her on the head with the stick?
Yes.
Do you know how many times you hit her?
That wasn't myself. I can't count. I was mad. I was confused. I was angry, paranoid. It was like a feeling like I never had before. It felt like she was like my worst enemy, you know? So it's like, how do you go from somebody, you know, like a best friend, you know, to an enemy, you know?
Natavia also claimed Linda had blown green smoke into her face, although toxicology testing found no substances in Linda's system. The investigation revealed that the violence was followed by further attempts to conceal what had happened. Natavia answered Linda's phone and told a caller that she could not come to it. She left the apartment, returned the phone, and later used Linda's bank card to withdraw $800. Natavia eventually withdrew her confession and maintained that investigators had pressured her into admitting responsibility. Her defense challenged the length and conditions of the interrogation, while her family insisted she was incapable of the attack. The case was not left unresolved. Prosecutors presented the confession alongside the financial theft, the changing accounts, the security footage, and the bank withdrawal. They argued that Linda had discovered, or was about to discover, those unauthorized credit charges and confronted her assistant. In February 2010, a jury found Natavia Lowery guilty of second-degree murder and grand larceny. That May, she received the maximum sentence of 25 years to life, with additional time for stealing from Linda. Linda Stein had spent decades forcing open doors, first for a band few people understood, and then for herself, in a profession built around wealth, secrecy, and status. Her daughter Mandy later dedicated a documentary about CBGB to her. At Linda's funeral, Seymour admitted that after her death, he called her mobile phone 5 times simply to hear her voice. For all the famous names attached to Linda Stein, that detail brings her back to human scale. Behind the legend was a mother, former wife, and friend whose life had survived illness, divorce, and repeated reinvention, only to be ended inside her own home by the assistant she had trusted to help her.
He's a kind, gentle person, loving person. Yeah, but I didn't know that. He will never take another person's life.
Karina Ann Vetrano was born on July 12, 1986 in New York City. She grew up with 2 loving parents as well as 2 siblings, ones who valued integrity and servitude. Her mother, Catherine, was a nurturer looking after the home and the children, and her father, Phil, was a retired firefighter. He was one of the first responders during the 9/11 attacks. This upbringing is why Karina, after graduating from Archbishop Molloy High School and attending St. John's University, became a speech pathologist for children with special needs. Karina pursued a career where she was in service to others, but she never let her big dreams die. She was also an aspiring writer and an avid world traveller. She loved to write blog posts about her travels and her thoughts about the world. Poetry, musings, and ideas flowed from Karina. She was a thoughtful person and she wasn't afraid to show it or share it with the world. In 2013, she even featured in a short film, The Paradox, directed by a friend that was inspired by her writings. Throughout her aspirations, she never lost the close connection she had with her family. In fact, she moved into the same neighbourhood as them in Queens, and she went on frequent jogs with her father through the parks. Unfortunately, it would be this bonding experience that would ultimately forever change all of their lives. Queens, New York is a borough in New York City which is diverse and dynamic. It's known for its rich cultural diversity. Queens is home to residents from all over the world. This makes it a melting pot of languages, of cultures and traditions. With neighborhoods ranging from bustling urban centers to peaceful residential areas, Queens offers a little something for pretty much everyone. Its attractions include Flushing Meadows Corona Park, the Unisphere, and a variety of museums. Altogether, this makes it a vibrant and exciting place to live and to visit. It is here where Karina's family would grow close and thrive. That is, until August 2nd, 2016. For years, Karina and her father had shared a cherished evening routine. They went on their jogs and bonded through it. However, on this day, their well-established tradition was interrupted. Her father had recently suffered a back injury and was unable to join her. Concerned for her safety, Karina's father asked her not to go. However, she offered soothing words of reassurance, saying that she would be fine. With a parting smile, Karina ventured out. She left at around 5 p.m. to embark on their familiar jogging route. But over an hour later, as the Vetrano family home grew quiet, Father Phil's worry for Karina had become intense. He couldn't shake the growing unease, a sense of something being wrong that gnawed away at him. Karina should have returned by now, but as minutes turned into hours, his worries deepened. Desperate for a sign that she was okay, Philip reached for his phone and sent a text message to Karina. However, the notification remained unanswered. Mother Catherine joined him in his concern, but they still hung on to the hope that their daughter might have made an unexpected stop. Maybe she visited friends or she got caught up in conversation. But as the skies darkened and more calls and text messages went unanswered, their parental instincts caused them to take action. Father Phil's instinctual response was to reach out to a neighbor. He was someone with experience in law enforcement. As it turned out, the neighbor was a New York City police chief, and he thankfully immediately answered Phil's request for help in searching for Karina. The community railed together, guided by Philip. They retraced the familiar jogging route, but after a while of searching along the path, Karina's helpless father made a chilling, life-changing discovery. Within a few feet from the jogging path, Karina's lifeless body was discovered. She was laying face down in the weeds, her hand gripping the grass beneath her. She was now only partially dressed and her body bore evident signs of violence in the form of scratches and bruises. This distressing scene was a stark illustration of a gruesome crime. The wave of shock and grief that hit her family was profound. Her mother, Catherine, couldn't contain her sorrow. She ran through the streets with her cries echoing through the neighborhood. This discovery marked the beginning of a rigorous investigation into the circumstances surrounding Karina's passing. No one could fathom who would want to hurt a beautiful helping hand in the world who came from such a heroic family. The autopsy results left no room for doubt. Karina Vetrano had been throttled. Her passing was declared a clear case of homicide. The examination revealed harrowing evidence of violence. She had been struck in the back of the head with a rock. It was clear she had fiercely struggled to fight for her life. She had bitten her assailant with such force that her teeth were cracked. Her hands still gripping the grass was evidence of her being dragged from the path. The marks on her neck were so severe that her handprint was left behind. This showed the full force of the assault. It was clear that Karina had fought for her life with everything that she had, gasping for breath as she attempted to hit, scratch, kick and punch her assailant. Unfortunately, her fight proved to not be enough. Karina, innocently going on a run, had fallen victim to a senseless crime. The response of her family to this tragedy was swift and determined, and the public were left wondering how they could keep women safe when they were out and alone. An award for information was announced, and a task force of 100 detectives was assembled to unravel this disturbing mystery. The search for answers began with DNA recovery in key locations. This was Karina's neck, where she had been throttled, under her fingernails reflecting the struggle against her attacker, and on her discarded cell phone which had been carelessly tossed into the weeds nearby. However, despite these valuable clues, there were no matches to any individuals on the police's database. This only deepened the mystery. The tireless effort to solve the crime would involve examining 600 DNA samples, each one inched closer to finding the person responsible for this horrific act. The investigation continued to be a painstaking and heart-wrenching process. Police investigators reviewed more than 1,700 investigative reports. They left no stone unturned as they followed over 250 leads in their quest for answers. As the investigation continued, the NYPD took a significant step by releasing a sketch. It was of a man deemed a possible witness in the homicide of Karina Vetrano. They hoped this would finally bring them closer to solving this case. However, their tireless efforts would yield no results. Investigators grew weary and all leads led to dead ends. As the case grew colder, Queens County District Attorney Richard A. Brown took a significant step in December of 2016. He requested authorization from the state to employ familial DNA testing in the investigation. This would involve running the DNA profile from the crime scene through the state database. This was to identify any potential links to similar profiles belonging to relatives. This process focused on the DNA testing of Y chromosomes. They are found in males only. Meanwhile, the GoFundMe page established by the Vetrano family with the aim of providing a reward fund for anyone with valuable information had now earned over $290,000 in donations. The community's support remained steadfast as they sought justice for Karina Vetrano. As the investigation dragged on with no strong leads, many of the officers began to lose hope. But in January of 2017, Lieutenant John Russo remembered something that gave him the feeling that they had a new lead. He remembered a call that he had made to the police. This was regarding a man spotted in his own Howard Beach neighborhood, all the way back in May the previous year whilst he was off duty. The suspicious character had been wearing a hooded sweatshirt in warm weather. It appeared as though he was canvassing the area for possible robberies. As Russo noticed this man, he decided to employ the see something, say something mantra, so he called it in. Russo knew that this detail was minuscule, but he was grabbing onto anything he had left to aid in the investigation. With a sense of urgency, Russo had sought out the police officers who had responded to his 911 call. He hoped that they still had their notes from this dispatch. As he pored over their notes, they revealed that officers had arrived on the scene. and they did indeed locate this individual. They spoke with him and took down his identifying information in case of any future incidents. The reports from May of 2016 read that the name of this suspicious man was Chanel Lewis. He was a 20-year-old man with no criminal record. A deeper look into his past would reveal that at one point, he had expressed disturbing thoughts to a teacher. He revealed his desire to harm the girls at his school. Lewis was often described as a loner, which, coupled with his reported instability, added to the complexity of his profile. Although his criminal record remained clean, he had had some encounters with law enforcement. Lewis had found himself on the radar of the police on several occasions. He received summons for violating rules and for public urination. These seemingly minor offences now took on a different significance in their ongoing investigation. It didn't take long for police to locate Lewis. There they spoke with him, and with his consent, they obtained a DNA sample like they had done with hundreds of others. The breakthrough in the Karina Vetrano case came when on February 2nd, 2017, it was found that Chanel Lewis's DNA did indeed match the samples found under Karina's nails and on her cell phone. This evidence was overwhelming. On February 4th, 2017, Lewis was brought in for questioning at the 107th precinct. After hours of interrogation, Lewis finally confessed to the crimes. This confession was recorded at the precinct in the presence of a prosecutor.
Approximately 10:33 a.m. and I'm activating the tape this time. You're good.
Okay, we're present in the 107th Police Precinct. The date is Sunday, February 5th. 2017, and the time is about 10:33 a.m. My name is Peter McCormick. I'm an assistant DA in and for the County of Queens. Present in the room with me at this time are Detective Barry Brown, ADA Michael Curtis, video technician Joseph Deal, and Chanel Lewis. Okay, Chanel, I'm about to be reading you your rights. After that, if you agree to speak with me, you may, if you wish, make a statement about and answer questions about an incident that occurred on August 2nd, 2016. Even though I've already spoken to someone else, you do not have to talk to us. I'm going to now read you your rights. You have the right to remain silent and refuse to answer questions. Do you understand?
Yes.
Anything you do say may be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to consult with an attorney before speaking to me or to the police, and to have an attorney present during any questioning now or in the future. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you without cost. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you do not have an attorney available, you have the right to remain silent until you have had an opportunity to consult with one. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now that I've advised you of your rights, are you willing to answer questions?
Okay.
Yes? Okay. All right. All right. Chanel, why don't we start with, I think it was a Tuesday evening on August 2nd, 2016. Do you remember that date and that evening?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And where were you at that time?
I was in Spring Creek, at the Gateway and Spring Creek Mall.
Okay, by Gateway and Spring Creek Mall?
Spring Creek Park.
Park?
Yeah.
All right. Were you inside the park?
Yeah,
Okay. And was anyone with you, or were you by yourself?
by myself.
All right. About what time did you get to the park?
About 5 o'clock.
All right. And how did you enter the park? From what street?
From where Bell Parkway.
From where the Bell Parkway entrance is to the
Yeah.
park? All right. And what kind of park is this? What does it look like inside? Are the trees, grass, benches? What?
More like large grass.
High grass? Are there any trails in the park?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And were you on a trail or you in the grass?
On the trail.
Okay. What kind of trail is it? Paved or dirt or what?
It's kind of like dirt.
Mm-hmm. Okay. About what time would you say you got to the park that night? That evening?
About 5.
Okay. What was the weather like? Was it rainy, cloudy, sunny?
Well, it looked like it rained like in the morning and then got sunny in the evening.
Okay. And while you were in the park, well, do you remember what you were wearing that day?
It was a hoodie, a sweatpants, and a shoes.
Okay. What color was the hoodie? Do you remember?
Most likely brown.
And the sweatpants?
I think it's probably black.
Right. And the shoes, were they shoes or sneakers?
I think sneakers.
Okay. Do you remember what color they were, what kind?
Mm.
Okay. Now, while you were in the park, did something happen?
Yes.
What happened while you were in the park?
While in the park, there was this girl jogging, and then you know, one thing led to another because of some other situation.
All right. Well, the girl that was jogging, was she by herself or with anybody else?
By herself.
What did she look like? What was she wearing?
Well, I was going to say she looked like she was wearing a yellow tank top, maybe.
Okay. What kind of pants?
I wouldn't really know.
Were they long or short? Do you remember?
No.
You remember if they were long pants or short pants? No?
Mm.
Okay. And was she jogging? Was she coming from the same direction that you came from when you entered the park?
No, we go opposite directions.
Okay. And when you first saw her, where were you? Were you in the grass or were you on the trail?
On the trail.
All right. And were you moving or were you standing still?
Like I was moving, listening to music,
You were walking or jogging?
walking.
Walking? And you were walking towards her?
I was walking towards and then got side to side and then one thing led to another.
When you first saw her, though, were you walking towards her or the same direction as her? When you first saw her?
We was walking towards each other.
Towards each other, okay. And she was jogging, you said?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you know if she had anything on her head or in her hands? Do you remember as she was approaching you?
She might have had a phone.
Okay. And where was her phone? Was it in her hand or was it clipped to her clothes? Do you remember?
It was in her hand.
Okay. And you said as she got next to you, when she got next to you as she was running and you were walking, what happened then?
And then, you know, because of a past situation, I got angry and then started hitting her and stuff like that.
Okay. Before you did, where did you hit her?
Like in the face and like in the mouth.
In the face and the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Before you hit her, did you grab her or did you just hit her right away?
Like kind of grabbed her first.
Grabbed her? And like, how did you grab her? What part of her body did you grab?
Like I started hitting her because of the incident that was going on earlier.
Right, but did you grab her before you started hitting her, or was the first thing you did was to hit her? What was the first thing you did?
I grabbed her.
Okay. And how did you grab her?
Like this.
Okay. With both hands?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what part of her body did you grab? Do you remember? Her shoulders, her waist, her neck? Do you remember?
Probably like around here.
Okay, around the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And when you grabbed her, what happened then?
And then I started hitting her and stuff like that.
All right. Now, did you hit her with both hands?
Probably, yeah.
All right. And what part of her body did you hit with your hands?
I didn't hit any part of her body.
Her face?
Just the face.
Just the face? All right. About how many times did you hit her in the face?
Around 5.
All right. Was she standing when you started to hit her, or was she on the ground?
She was on the ground.
Okay. So when did she fall to the ground? After you grabbed her? All right. Now, when she fell to the ground, was she lying in the path, or was she off the path? The pathway. When she fell to the ground and you were hitting her, was she on the pathway or was she off the pathway?
She's kind of on the pathway.
All right. About how wide is this path, would you say? Like,
Well, a couple of feet.
okay. So it's not that wide, right?
Mm.
All right. And when you were hitting her in the face, was she face up or face down?
She was like face up.
Face up. Did she say anything at all?
Mm.
No. Did she scream?
No, because her tooth broke.
I'm sorry? Her tooth broke? Right. Were you covering her mouth at all?
Mm.
No? Okay. The tooth that broke, was it like in the front, the top, or the bottom? Do you remember?
It No.
Okay. How long would you say you were hitting her for? About how long in time? I mean,
The whole thing was like about 5 minutes.
5 minutes, all right. And did you do anything else to her besides hit her? Did you put her hands on any other part of her body?
No.
Okay, around her neck or anything?
Yeah, there was kind of separation.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
You put her hands on her neck, around her neck? Okay. Do you remember, was it one hand or both hands?
Both.
Both? All right. And how long did you have your hands around her neck?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you squeeze her neck when you had your hands around her neck?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. You don't remember for how long though? Okay.
Because I was mad at the incident.
You were mad about an incident. Okay, we're going to get to that in a little bit, all right? I just want to find out like, what happened, all right? And was she still moving when you had your hands around her neck?
Oh, yeah, and then she dropped into the water.
Okay. Well, when you had your hands around the neck, was she on the ground or standing up?
She's still on the ground.
On the ground. Face up or face down?
Face up.
All right. And then how did her face go in the water?
I was strangling. We were near the water, and then I put her face in the ground.
Okay. You were
So
strangling
she
her,
fell
you
in the
said?
water.
And you
She-
put her...
No, she fell in the water,
Okay.
and then my hand was bleeding, so I went to wash off all the blood.
Okay. Which hand, do you remember? You just showed me your right hand, right? Your right hand? Where was it bleeding? What part of the hand? Your knuckle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when her face went in the water, was she face up or face down?
Down.
Down?
Face up.
A face up?
Yes.
All right. Was the water covering her face?
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you hold her under the water?
Oh, she didn't hold on to the water. When I came back, she was just...
Oh, you didn't hold her under the water? Okay. Was she moving when you put her face in the water?
She was not moving.
Okay. What do you remember? Was she still moving when you had your hands around her neck? At all?
Mm-hmm.
How was she moving? What was she doing?
Like, she wasn't really moving that much.
Okay. Did she try to hit you or touch your body at all during this time? Okay. What did she do?
Like, try to scratch me.
Okay. And did she scratch you? Where did she scratch you?
Like, on my face.
Okay. Would that be on the right side of your face?
Probably was one of these two, though.
Okay. Did she leave a mark or a scratch on your face?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. So at some point before she went into the water, she had stopped moving. Is that right?
Mm?
She stopped moving before her face went into the water, correct? All right. Did
Kinda.
I'm sorry.
Kinda did.
Kinda did. All right. What could you tell if she was breathing or not?
What you say? Repeat the last question?
Could you tell if she was breathing?
No, the other one.
Oh, before that? I said,
Yeah.
oh, at some point before she went into the water, she stopped moving, and you said kind of, right?
This is like after the water?
Well, that when you put her in the water, was she still moving
I
then?
didn't put in the water. She fell in the
She
water.
fell. Was she moving then?
After that, she wasn't moving.
Okay.
Did she fall in the water when you first threw her to the ground, or when you're on the ground with her hitting her? Did she like kind of move towards the water?
It was more like a strangulation, and then she rolled into the water.
So it was after you had your hands on her neck that she went in the water.
Mhm.
All right. And what did you do then? After that?
After that, she was just lying there, and then I got her by her ankles, and then picked her up by from her back and put her in the bushes.
Okay. Can you just describe to me like how you moved her? What part of the body were you holding when you moved her?
Like on the hands. And
Okay,
lifting up her back.
Were your hands holding her arms, or were your hands under her arms, or
Like holding it.
your hands were holding one hand on each one of her hands?
Like how you just put somebody there.
You were dragging her by the hands or the arms, right?
Yeah.
And when you dragged her, was she facing down onto the ground or facing up to the sky?
Up to the sky.
Facing up, okay. And where did you drag her to?
It was somewhere off the pathway.
Off the pathway?
Mm-hmm.
What's on the side of the pathway? Bushes, trees, grass?
Like some really rough kind of trees. I mean, some really rough, it's called Weed and Leaves.
Weed and leaves. Okay. About how high would you say it was? Was it high or
Like about 8 feet, something like that.
like higher than your head when you're standing?
Yeah.
All right. How far off the path would you say you dragged her into the grass? Like how many feet about?
Probably about 10.
Okay. After you dragged her in the grass, did you go back onto the path?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you got back onto the path, could you see her from where you were, from the path?
Mm-hmm.
I think you said, Chanel, that she had a phone with her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what happened to her phone?
She must have lost it doing all that.
Did you ever grab her phone? Yeah?
I might have touched it.
Okay. If you touched it, do you know where? Did you put it somewhere or?
No.
No? Okay, do you remember when you touched it?
No, I was doing a scuffle.
Okay. All right.
Did you touch anything else that she might have had with her?
I wouldn't know.
When you left her in the grass, what were her clothes still on?
No.
What was the status of her clothing? How was her clothing
Kind of
arranged?
like pulled off.
Pulled off?
Yeah.
Okay, what was pulled off?
Like her clothes,
Her shirt, her pants?
her pants.
What about her shirt?
Sure, I think it was still intact.
Still?
Maybe.
Okay. And when you say her pants were pulled off, were they totally off, or were they half on or half off? What were they?
Looked like kind of half off.
Okay. Were they down or up? I mean, her pants.
Kind of like down.
Okay. What about her underwear?
Maybe it was down too.
Okay. Did you touch her in any way in her vagina or her anus at all?
Mm-mm.
Not at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Now, you said that you did this because you had some anger, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Can you tell me about that anger?
Cause I used to live in a different address than I currently live at now.
Right.
And then sometimes there's this man that comes around there. He play like live music and carry a lot of friends around there. I didn't like it because I feel unsafe and uncomfortable, and I like my place private and peaceful. And usually I just
Okay.
sometimes.
What place was this that you used to live in? A different place? What place was
It was
this?
the same neighborhood but different street. It was at Logan Street.
The neighborhood where you live now?
Yeah.
Okay, and where do you live now?
Where I live now is Essex Street,
What's the address?
576 Essex Street.
And is that a big house, little house? Or?
It's kind of like a 3-story.
Okay. What floor do you live on?
We live in the basement.
Okay. Who's we? Who do you live with?
My mom, my sisters,
How many sisters?
2,
Two? Okay, what are their names?
Flip and Sweeter,
Okay. Are they older than you or younger than you?
older.
Older, okay. How long, and the place you said you lived before that, you said it was Logan Street? And that's near Essex Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And there was someone there who got you angry? Do you remember who that was?
Mm.
Do you remember who that was?
Well,
No.
I wouldn't really want to say his name.
Okay.
Is your brother? Do you have any brothers?
Yeah, but he don't live with us no more.
Is he older or younger than you?
Older.
Where does he live now?
He lives somewhere in East Flatbush.
How old is he?
About 27, 28, around that area.
What's his name?
Shamar.
Shaman? Do you see him a lot?
Yeah, he comes around the house once.
Does he know this person that you have an issue with?
Yeah.
Did that particular person, you don't have to tell us who he is, but did he make you angry that day, on August 2nd, that Tuesday?
Yeah, because like every day he keep playing the music and inviting his friends, and we just live in a quiet block. And we
Mhm.
don't like all of these type of stuff.
Okay, and about what time was that?
Hmm?
What time was that he was playing the music and got you annoyed and got you
Pretty
angry?
much all day.
All right. And what time, when did you leave your house to go to that park that day?
I probably left about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
In the afternoon, early afternoon?
Yeah.
And how far is your house to that? It's called Spring Creek Park, right? Is that what it's
Mhm.
called?
Yeah.
How far is your house from that park?
Like, it's probably like a couple of blocks.
All right. And how did you get to the park?
Usually I just go to industrial. Usually I just go to the industrial place and then go to the mall and then go across the bridge.
Okay. Did you walk? Did you ride a bike or?
Walk.
Okay. Was anybody with you?
Mm.
Did you tell anybody that you were going to the park before you went?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And you entered the park through what entrance way did you get into the park? What street is
Bell
that?
Parkway.
By the Bell Parkway entrance? All right. And how far into the park did you walk when you first saw the girl?
I walked to one trail and then went to the next trail.
Okay. So how far would you say in distance you had walked when you ran into her?
What do you mean?
Well, at some point while you were inside the park, you were listening to music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And were you listening to music through headphones or the radio, or how were you listening to music?
Like phone.
Your phone?
Yeah.
All right. And at some point while you're walking, listening to music, you see the girl jogging towards you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how far had you walked, like from the point you entered until you saw her coming? Halfway through, more than halfway through, or?
It's kind of like one trail and then you go to the next trail.
Okay, so you took one trail to the next trail. All right. And from the time you first grabbed the girl until the time you dragged her into the grass and left her there, about how long you think that took? You know, when you punched her and strangled her, how long would you say it lasted?
About 5 minutes.
Okay. Now, had you ever gone to that park, like before this date? Would you go there on occasion, or?
Yeah, sometimes when I get angry and stuff like that.
How many times would you say you've been there before, to that park?
Like several times.
More than 3, 4 times?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you always go into the park by that trail?
Yeah.
All right. And would you always walk, or there were other ways to get there?
I always walk.
Would you walk the same route?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I choose a different route.
Okay. Did you ever go there with someone else, with friends or anything?
No.
No? Okay. Did you ever, while you were in that area, did you ever once get spoken to by police in the area, like before this
I
happened?
mean, like I got stopped once by the police.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How long before this was that?
That was probably a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm. A couple of months before the August 2nd?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I know, Chanel, I know that, like last night, you really didn't want to talk about this, right? Last night, but today it was okay. You wanted to talk about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that you told Detective Brown you wanted to straighten your life out, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then Detective Brown said to wait until you came in the room to talk about it. That's right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you did, right?
Yes.
Okay. I know that, I think Detective Brown showed you this map before when he spoke to you, right? Remember this map? Okay. Can you show me on the map, like what point, like that you actually entered into the park? Just put a little dot there. Okay, thanks. And is that the same way you went out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you went out, were you walking or running? Do you remember?
Walking.
Walking, okay. And where did you go after you left the park?
Pretty much my hand was really hurting me, so I went home.
Okay. Was it like bleeding heavily, or was it just like a scratch, or do you remember?
Like it was sweating a little bit, so
Sweating and bleeding?
and pain a little bit, so yeah.
Hurting? Right. And you said you had some scratches on your face, right? All right. Where did you go after you left the park? Did you go out somewhere? Did you go home?
Went home.
Okay. Was anyone home when you got there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I got my own keys, so I just.
Right. Did anyone see you that evening?
Yeah, some people, they were asleep.
Hmm?
They were kind of, yeah, they see me.
Okay. Did they ask you what happened to your face? Did they notice they had a scratch on your face? Anybody?
Not really, but they noticed this, like,
What did you say about that?
I said I fell.
Okay. Did you say where?
Mm-hmm.
What did you say?
I said Gateway Mall Park.
Okay. Can you just tell us what this girl looked like? Was she a black girl, Chinese girl, Spanish girl, white girl? Do you remember?
She looked white.
Okay. About how big was she?
About 5'4", 5'3", I guess.
Heavy, slim, medium?
Kind of look medium.
Okay.
Had you ever seen her before?
No.
Did you ever go back to that same park, Spring Creek Park, after August 2nd, after this date?
Mm-mm.
Never? Okay.
You know, after her face is in the water and you pick her up and you drag her into the weeds, does she move at all at that point or make any more noises?
Mm-mm.
No? At what point did she stop moving and making any sounds?
That's when she was under the water.
Under the water?
Mm-hmm.
Like as she was under the water or right before you put her in?
As she was under the water.
Were you holding her under the water?
At that point, no. I was too busy cleaning off the blood from my hand.
Okay. Was she still moving while you were strangling her around the neck?
She was moving like quite a little bit, yeah.
Is that when she scratched your face?
No, it was when I was hitting.
When you were hitting her, she scratched your face?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When you were hitting her, were you standing over her or were you like sitting on her chest or how were you positioned when you were hitting her?
Like I was on top.
But were you standing on top or were your knees on the ground? Were you were you low or were you standing up on your feet?
Like it was kind of like between, like in the middle. Between the middle of standing and crouching on the floor.
Crouching like a catcher in baseball or with your knees on the ground?
It was more like a one with the baseball.
Like a catcher in baseball? Did you ever hit it with anything, or you hit it with your hands?
Just the hands.
Okay. Oh, and all the punches were to her face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said it was with both your hands?
Mm-hmm.
You only got the injury to the one hand?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say you use that hand more?
Yeah, it's more like it on that hand, yeah.
Or you're righty?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Did you notice whether she suffered any injuries as a result of the punches?
Just a broken tooth.
That's it? Do you remember, could you see if she was bleeding or not, or black,
I really
swollen?
checked.
You didn't check? Okay.
Did she say anything to you? Was she able to, other than maybe if she screamed, was she able to communicate at all? Say any words, any sentences?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say anything to her while it's happening?
Mm-hmm.
And you were angry because of what happened in your neighborhood?
Yes.
Were you angry about what happened in Howard Beach?
No.
Did you have any friends or people you knew who lived in the neighborhood by Howard Beach?
No.
No?
No, I'm good.
Okay, the time
He was
is...
talking about-
I'm sorry.
He was talking about what you was talking about with him? Rest or what?
What?
Oh, what's that called again? Rest or what? You said it.
I said, did you have any friends in the area? You said no, right?
No, respiratory. Wait, it was something you said.
Subsequently, Lewis was charged with homicide and intimate violations, amongst other offences. This marked the pivotal turning point in the case. The trial of Chanel Lewis revolved around the presentation of compelling evidence, particularly his DNA found under Karina Vetrano's fingernails. During his interrogation, which was played for the jurors, Lewis admitted to authorities that he had encountered Vetrano whilst he was in a bad mood that was provoked by a neighbour's loud music. He went on to confess that he became angry and attacked Karina. He said he hit her in the face and mouth. However, Lewis's defense lawyers contended that his confession had been coerced. They also raised concerns about the potential tainting of the crime scene by the victim's father. When he discovered Karina's body, he lifted her up and hugged her. The trial was marked by intense deliberations, and on November 20th, 2018, after 14 hours, the jury reported their verdict. They were deadlocked. As a result, the judge declared a mistrial. This left the case in a state of uncertainty. The prosecutors promptly announced their intent to retry the case. They said that this legal battle was unresolved. Between that day and the start of Chanel Lewis's retrial, police worked to gather as much evidence as they could to ensure a new outcome. According to Lewis's mother, he looked disheveled and injured when he arrived home on the night of August 2nd. She added to say that his clothes were torn. Lewis had explained to her that he was mugged on the way home. The next morning, Lewis's father took him to the emergency room, looking for treatment for the scratches and cuts on his upper body. This was as well as a boxer's injury to his fist. A boxer's injury is normally a broken metacarpal on the little finger due to the impact of a punch. Evidence gathered from the doctor that treated Chanel revealed that his hand injury was likely the result of punching someone. Crucially, evidence also showed that Lewis's cell phone placed him in the park at the time of the homicide. His device also contained downloaded images of the crime scene and internet searches about second chances. At the start of the second trial in March of 2019, this new evidence was presented along with the existing evidence from the previous trial. However, in response, the defense had their own thoughts on this evidence. The defense lawyer argued for reasonable doubt. They emphasized the absence of fingerprints or hair and pointed out the need for more precise DNA evidence. In all actuality, it was possible that Chanel's DNA on Karina could have been a result of secondary transference. This meant that Chanel's DNA could have been transferred onto Karina through the fact that both of them touched the same object. The defense contended that the investigation by the police was sloppy. They said that they failed to thoroughly check for evidence. Additionally, they continued to assert that Chanel was coerced into his confession. They noted that many of his statements were inconsistent with the actual evidence. He stated that the cause of Karina's passing was the fact that she had drowned, face down in a puddle, when the evidence showed that she was actively strangled. Chanel also seemed confused and unclear at times. This raised suspicions on the part of the defense as to whether his confession was genuine. They raised concerns about tunnel vision clouding their judgment, latching onto Chanel as the culprit out of desperation to finally close the case. On March 28, 2019, as both the defense and prosecutors rested their cases, a surprising turn of events unfolded. An anonymous letter was sent to the defense team. This alleged that prosecutors had withheld potentially exculpatory material. Exculpatory material refers to evidence or information that is favourable for the defendant in a criminal case. Evidence that shows their innocence or casts doubt on their guilt. This evidence can include facts, documents, witness statements, or any information that would help exonerate the accused. It is the legal and ethical duty of the prosecutors to provide this material to the defense. This is part of their obligation to ensure a fair trial. Failure to disclose this information can be a violation of a defendant's rights, and therefore this may lead to the overturning of a conviction. The defense lawyers Julia Burke and Robert Moeller found a plain envelope with no return address in their office. The 3-page typed letter pointed attorneys to several meetings among investigators, meetings during the initial 2 weeks of the investigation. According to the unknown author, NYPD Deputy Chief Michael Kemper had stated on multiple occasions at these meetings that they were looking for 2 jacked-up white guys who are from Howard Beach, while Chanel Lewis was slight and African-American. Additionally, the letters revealed that after Chanel Lewis's DNA was taken, one of the detectives reported back to Lieutenant John Russo saying, "He's not the perp. He's too puny and dim-witted." In response to this case-altering information, the defense planned to submit motions seeking a hearing to address the prosecution's alleged failure to disclose this, as well as even more damning exculpatory evidence. They also looked to challenge the New York Police Department's unconstitutional racial profiling throughout the investigation. On April 1st, 2019, Queen's Supreme Court Justice Michael Aloise delivered significant rulings in the case. He denied all of the defense's motions to conduct a hearing about the allegations in this anonymous letter. Additionally, he dismissed the defense's request for a mistrial. Following these rulings, the closing arguments commenced. The jurors began deliberating at around 4 p.m. and, remarkably, they reached their verdicts by 9 p.m. Chanel Lewis was, this time, found guilty of first-degree homicide, of 2 counts of second-degree homicide, and of first-degree intimate violations. His sentencing was scheduled for April 17th, and under New York State's criminal law for first-degree homicide, Lewis faced a maximum penalty of life without the possibility of parole. However, on the same day, Chanel Lewis's attorneys filed a motion requesting an evidentiary hearing regarding allegations of juror misconduct. This motion led to the postponement of the sentencing, and the hearings related to these allegations were scheduled for April 22nd. The judge ultimately dismissed these claims and continued with the sentencing. When the day arrived, Justice Michael B. Aloise delivered a powerful sentence to Chanel Lewis. He told him that if he ever intended to atone for his crime, he would have to do so inside a prison cell. The courtroom was filled with tension as Lewis awaited his sentencing. Before the sentencing, Chanel heard heart-wrenching statements from Karina's father, from her mother, and her 2 siblings. They remembered Karina as a bright light in their lives, and they emphasized the terror that she must have experienced in her final moments. The Vetrano family pleaded with Justice Aloise to impose the maximum sentence. They were also strongly critical of Lewis's defense team. When Chanel Lewis had the opportunity to speak, he declared his innocence and offered condolences to the Vetrano family. He continued to maintain that he did not commit the crime. Karina's older sister, Tana, directed harsh words towards Lewis. She described him as unremarkable and insignificant, wishing for him to live a life of darkness and fear. Philip, Karina's father, shared the profound impact of his daughter's loss to their family. He conveyed that they were living as though their lives had ended, with their faith in God and their belief in heaven being the only things preventing them from succumbing to their despair. Karina's mother disputed the defense's portrayal of Lewis as an emotionally challenged young man. She described him as a clever and remorseless criminal with an empty soul. Justice Aloise, echoing the religious sentiments expressed by the Vetrano family, believed that Karina now sat beside God. He urged Lewis to embrace the concept of redemption and second chances. This was a reference to the research found on his cell phone. Ultimately, Justice Aloise rejected the defense's plea for a lighter sentence, a plea based on Lewis's mental and emotional difficulties. Chanel Lewis, in his sentencing, met the consequences of his actions. He would serve life in prison with no chance of parole. According to Karina's writings, it's chaotic and unpredictable. But I do believe that on some days it's quite beautiful in all its poetic little tragedies. Thank you so much for watching. I'm uploading daily true crime and dark content here on this channel, so make sure that you're subscribed, hit like on the video, and also drop a comment so you get shown more of my stuff. Please do be careful out there, and I'll see you tomorrow.